Good afternoon, world. You know, I feel obligated today to give you another Hodge Podge camouflage with Bird on here because I am so angry about the grand obstructionist party's tactics on tax breaks with the rich. And I'm so frustrated with the president that I voted for, President Obama, giving in to their bully tactics. So I want to give our president a message. It's time to really get tough on the grand old obstructionist party, Mr. President. Lyndon Johnson would never let them get away with what they're pulling. Harry Truman would never let them get away with what they're pulling. And Franklin Delano Roosevelt would fight them with all their might, with all his might. Now, I'm responding to a story that was in the New York Times this morning, which I saw happening anyway. Obama is seeking aid for jobless in any deal on tax cuts. All right, let me just read you the first and second paragraph. The Obama administration is holding out for an extension of unemployment assistance and of a variety of expiring tax breaks for low-wage and middle-income workers as part of a deal with congressional Republicans to extend all the Bush-era tax cuts. That means to extend the tax cuts for the very, very rich, because the middle class is only getting a few $100s a year out of this, and a rich person is getting millions out of this, and it's adding to our national deficit, which the grand old obstructionist party keeps on accusing Obama of enlarging hopelessly. So let me just read you the second paragraph. But it's unclear how much leverage the White House has in this tax negotiations, given the drubbing Democrats took in the midterm elections, the tight congressional calendar, and a threat by Senate Republicans to block any legislation until the tax fight is resolved. Screw them! Get on television with the American people and explain to them in simple terms that you will veto any bill that extends the tax cuts for the rich for any time at all. And tell them that the Republican Party will blast out with all their media, with all their devices to blame you for reducing ending tax cuts to the middle class and poor. Tell them, you're not doing that. It's the Republicans, obstructionists, maneuvers that are doing that. Because if you go along with it, Mr. President, it's going to cost the middle class and poor much more than if they keep the tax cuts. Because the only way with our deficit that you're going to be able to keep the tax cuts for the rich, which will add up to billions of dollars in the deficit, is to cut more holes into the security umbrella of the middle class and poor. They will end up paying more in many, many different ways if the Republicans are allowed to keep this tax cut for the rich. And you have to explain that to the American people in simple terms. I have faith that if they're explained that you're facing a bully. And I think you should call them that. Call them bullies. Call them people who are just interested in making the rich richer and the middle class poorer, who are trying to create a servant class, have people work endless hours, endless years for security, have them be obedient to their bosses because of fear of losing a job or not getting a job. We're back to the early 1900s if you allow this to happen. In fact, we're getting there now. So, Mr. President, you're going to have to get some muscle. And every time the Republicans filibuster, you're going to have to get on television. I don't agree with the New York Times. They say you don't have much. It's unclear how much leverage you have. You have the bully puppet. The president has the bully puppet. He can call a press conference anytime. He can have a fireside talk at any time. Well, maybe you don't have the fireside anymore in the White House. I haven't been there lately. But you can talk to the American public either from the Oval Office or from a press conference. And you can totally resist. You can obstruct the Republicans' obstructionism. That's right, Mr. President. Now, you're not going to get there with your Ivy League ways. You're going to have to be a real street Democrat. You're going to have to be an honest Mayor Daley. You have to be a Lyndon Johnson. You're going to have to be a give them hell Harry Truman. Or you're going to be out of office and you're going to be a puppet of the Republican Party. You know, they'll make a few little adjustments for you when you make concessions of everything. Stop it now and explain to the American people, this is the heartless party. You will veto their tax bill for the rich because this is the heartless party. You're not going to beg for pennies for the poor when they won't even give unemployment extensions at Christmas time. And you're not going to make a trade to make the rich richer for those unemployment benefits. If you explain to them, if you're not getting unemployment benefits, it's because the Republican Party is blackmailing us. They want us to give to the rich and take more away from you than even your unemployment benefits. They'll try to attack you on facts. What does facts matter anyway? They lie all the time. And when they're finally facts checked, the American people, even though the facts show they're wrong, forget what they said. And they forget what the fact checks mean. As long as you speak essentially the truth, if you're wrong here and there on little statistics, it doesn't matter. Be tough. Stand up for the middle class. Stand up for the poor. That's my message to you this Christmas, Mr. President. Merry Christmas all, and have a great holiday season and a Happy New Year. Boy, why don't you get me there in Washington, Mr. President? I'll help you.